I call Phil Twyford, 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Ka tangi te titi, ka tangi te kaka. Ka tangi hoki ahau, ti hei Māori ora. Kuhinga te tōtara I te wānui a tāne, te kaumātua no te iwi o te Kawerau a Maki. Ara, ko mātua Eru Thompson. Moi mai rā e te rangatira. Hoki atu koe ki o mātua tipuna. Moi mai rā, moi mai rā. Mr Speaker, I want to add to the contributions of colleagues already in this debate, my voice to the condolences of this House to Te Kawerau a Maki for the loss of Eru Thompson. As Member of Parliament for Te Atatu in West Auckland, it's been my pleasure to get to know Mr Thompson a little bit, and the iwi's settlement was of course so important to him, and today it's with some sadness that we debate this first reading of the Te Kawerau a Maki settlement bill with his loss so fresh in our minds. Labour supports this bill, as we do the broad Treaty of Waitangi reconciliation of historical breaches by the Crown to Māori. And it's great to see the Te Kawerau a Maki settlement arrive at this point today. And I want to acknowledge the commitment, the hard work and the leadership from both the iwi and the Crown that went into achieving this agreement. Te Kawerau a Maki's experience of colonisation and land loss is not the biggest financially or geographically. It's not the most dramatic or even the most colourful such story in our country's modern history. Yet it is as poignant as any. This iwi, whose customary interests stretch from the Tamaki Isthmus through West Auckland to the upper Waitemata, into the North Shore and up to the Kaipara and Mahurangi, were through the Crown's actions and sins of omission rendered landless, to the extent that today they are left without even a marae or an urupa on their own land. And sir, it goes without saying that this state of affairs has had devastating consequences for the well-being of Te Kawerau a Maki. And I want to quote from the deed of settlement the Crown's acknowledgement of the impact this experience has had on Te Kawerau a Maki. The Crown's failure to ensure that Te Kawerau a Maki were left with sufficient land for their present and future needs was a breach of the Treaty of Waitangi and its principles. This hindered the social, economic and cultural development of Te Kawerau a Maki as a tribe and undermined the ability of Te Kawerau a Maki to protect and manage their taonga and their wāhi tapu and to maintain spiritual connections to their lands. The Crown further acknowledges that this has severely impacted on the well-being of Te Kawerau a Maki today. Colleagues have touched on the history of land alienation, sir. In 1841, the Crown investigated pre-treaty purchases but failed to properly consider Te Kawerau a Maki's interests. They granted settlers certain lands according to the historical record and retained a surplus for itself for the Crown of 22,000 acres. Shortly afterwards, the Crown purchased an extensive area called Mahurangi and Omaha without consulting Te Kawerau a Maki, failed to set aside reserves and failed to provide compensation. And this pattern was repeated throughout the 19th century, and in the 20th century, sir, the Crown acquired the remaining remnants of Te Kawerau a Maki interests through compulsory purchase under the Public Works Act. So it's great to see in this settlement package, sir, both cultural redress, commercial and financial redress. And I want to just finish by noting the inclusion in the cultural redress provisions of the original Te Kawerau a Maki names that will become official geographic names of some of the natural features in West Auckland, like Te Wai or Pareira, the Henderson Creek, which runs through my electorate. Not the most important part of the package, but still an important daily reminder of Te Kawerau Maki, mana whenua and guardians of our place. Thank you.
I call the whistle.